you had been doing all this work all these years, and unfortunately I was not aware of it. The first thing I was aware of was when I saw your work, this the word in paint. And
right.
can you speak to that? I mean, this is amazing stuff.
Well, this was about my 5th big project.
Yeah.
I tend to work, as I say, in series and large projects. And this, the second one, after Israel Revisited, just to bring you up to date, was a big installation called The Moving Point of Balance. And Israel Revisited was based on the 10 spheres of energy in the Kabbalistic Tree of Life. A Moving Point of Balance was based on the 7 chakras in the Hindu system. So I work east and west and up and down.
And
and
you give a lot of thought to all this.
Right,
I mean, you put a lot of time and effort
actually,
into this.
it's a lot of study
Yeah.
because I'm not airy-fairy. I'm somebody who likes to go into depth. I like to create beauty with depth. And my 3rd big project, I worked with Shen Shi, which is a Chinese healing system, because I had gotten ill, and it was a meditation, and it worked with the idea of that no matter what we go through in life, we can transform it, and that's really the lesson or the work, and the very essence of the work is all about transformation. And so I discovered these 2 8th century Chinese poets, Du Fu and Li Po. And at the time, I was feeling very helpless about the Iraq War, and felt that I needed to do something. And so I had done a series in the early 90s called A Story for the 11th Hour about how compassion can save our planet. And it has the Buddha cradling the planet. Well, in this particular project that was actually sponsored by ASU, the College of Public Programs, and the Virginia Piper Center for Creative Writing, they loved the idea that I incorporated these Chinese poets' work from the 8th century into my work. And the poems are all very sad. I mean, they're about war. In the Tang Dynasty, the population was decimated. About 75% of the population disappeared during that dynasty because of wars.
I think it's amazing that you're able to just look at everything globally. I mean, you're in Arizona, but you're not just thinking about painting the Grand Canyon over and over. You know what I mean? You're doing Israel. You're doing
I don't consider myself an Arizona artist, although I love Arizona. It is actually beautiful that you said that, because I really feel there's the idea of the 100 monkey story. Do you know that story?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Well, it's the idea if 200,000 people achieve compassion or consciousness or enlightenment, whatever you want to call it, wisdom, maybe true wisdom, that we'll all get it at that moment. And so I guess my work has always been about asking every single person to look within, because if we heal ourselves, we're bound to heal our planet, because I'll say hello to you and I'll mean it and I'll be loving and I'll keep my heart open to you. But if I'm closed and angry, because there are only really 2 energies on the planet, love or fear. And fear turns into, you know what it turns into, violence.
Well, you know what I really enjoyed is that when I went into your studio to get some footage of you working, I'm thinking, you know, you've been doing this for 50 years. This is the old hat to you. But I could just see, you walked into the studio and you just lit up and you just started creating. And I could tell it's like you're I mean, who knows how many more books you're going to create, how much more art.
It's my greatest asset and my greatest detriment at the same time, because you can't look at a Beth Ames Swartz and say, oh my goodness, she's been doing this for 50 years, because the work changes. Because if I'm studying 8th century Chinese poets, oh my God, the work just happened naturally to become stylized landscapes. They have a visionary quality. When I was doing a Visible Reminders series in the early 2000s, they were abstract because I was interpreting T.S. Eliot poetry, and I was breaking out from an earlier series that was called Shen Shi, that was all about very carefully doing these striated boxes of gold leaf that look moment by moment by moment. So it's the philosophy and the study that charges the work.
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's from the inside out, not from the outside in.
And I can just tell how excited you get when you're working. Now, we're almost out of time, but I've got to ask, what are you thinking next? What's your next project?
I don't know. It's like jumping off the bridge and learning to fly on the way down.
Yeah.
My work is a chronicle and also a residue of my life, and sometimes it's 10 years ahead of where I am, so I don't know. Just tune in. And you'll find out.
Well, Beth, we hope we can have you on the show down the road again to see because we only just got to touch just a little bit of your work.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. But thanks so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Happy
to
be here.
Thank you.